today. Ronnie Jones, 25 points back. And with that, it is main event time. There's the green. There's the drag race to turn one. Scott Parker got away quickly. Chris Carr came out right alongside him. Here goes Durrell around the outside. Takes second away from Carr. And way up at the top of the racetrack on the red motorcycle, white leathers, that is Larry Pegram. And he gets into fourth spot. That was a good run out of the second row. He's side by side with Poovey. And up front, it's Dave Durrell, who dives deeper into turn three and takes the lead. Again, charging on the outside is number 72, Pegram. Atherton has joined the fray. 17 bikes at 130 miles an hour. Watch this. That'll raise the hair on the back of your neck. And the thing about Springfield is they do it all day long. This track holds up beautifully.
Springfield's a wonderfully prepared racetrack. You can rest 3, 4 abreast. It makes for great Camel Pro racing.
The one thing that's difficult to do at Springfield is break away. And right now, Dave Durrell, Scott Parker, and Kevin Atherton are trying to do exactly that. Although I think it may be coincidence. I mean, they're clearly not hooked up in a line trying to run away. Atherton's trying to pass them both.
I think they're being cautious with tires. They just got a little bit quicker pace than the rest of the guys right now.
What a great shot. Right at track level at the start-finish line. We watched Dave Durrell continuing to hold the lead here over the factory team Harley. That's a privateer Harley. It's built at the shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The factory team bikes are ridden by number 23, Kevin Atherton, and around the outside, number 1, Scott Parker. And they make a sandwich out of Durrell. Look at the Army coming along after them. Crowd loving this action as Atherton takes the lead. His Camel Challenge win here in the spring made him very popular among the Springfield fans. So there's your lead trio, nice and tight as they come across the start-finish line. Chris Carr, for the record, is back at about 7th or 8th spot. He's caught up in that second pack that we're going to review here in just a moment. I'm interested to know if these three can indeed hook up and break away, or if that other pack that we see right here is likely to run them down. You got Ronnie Jones, Mike Hale, there is Carr running 6th. Pegram, who started hot, is 7th. Poovey is in the middle of it. Can those guys catch the lead trio at this point?
I think it's still possible. The leaders are just trying to be cautious with the tires. Watch all 3 riders up front. The guy who keeps his bike in line going in is the guy who's going to save the tires for the end. It's critical to keep the bike, don't skid it, keep it in line, be gentle with your tires early.
When you say keep it in line, you want to ride it road race style. You don't want that back wheel stepping out there.
Exactly. You don't want to torture your tires early. Very, very important to do that early in a race.
Here comes the move up the inside, and a big move it is by Atherton. Durrell went first. Atherton rode his draft as far as he could, then he too ducked out of line and went from 3rd to 1st, dropped Parker back to 3rd. You obviously made another change after the Camel Challenge. What was that change?
You talk about sport being a game of inches. The total changes in Scott motorcycles don't accumulate to more than 1/4 of an inch and maybe 1.5 pounds of tire pressure. That's the difference between the challenge and the main event.
And the challenge we saw him go to the back, and now in the main event where it counts, where the Camel points are, Parker is right up front. But significantly, number 20, Chris Carr, is breaking away from that pack, or I think more accurately, has gone to the front of that pack and is now starting to pull that second group along, and they're beginning to run down the leaders. Carr is desperate to stay close to that lead draft. He certainly can't afford to have Scott Parker win this race as he drafts by Atherton there and have Chris himself be stuck back and forth with this spot. That would be very serious in terms of championship consequences. We'll be back to see if Carr can catch up. Trail to Springfield, Illinois. I'm Dave Despain with Bill Werner, who builds the number 1 motorcycle ridden by Scott Parker. Bill, your bike in 2nd spot right now and still involved in that tight battle with leader Kevin Atherton and the 3rd place man Dave Durrell. You comfortable at this point with the way this race is unfolding?
No. I wish you were about a half mile ahead right now.
Don't be greedy. You rarely see that kind of a lead at Springfield. It's always close.
It's very difficult to get away because Springfield's such a wide track, multi-lined, and everybody loves it.
Here are the lead trio, and they are indeed holding an interval that seems to be pretty stable over this battle. Number 16, Ronnie Jones. Number 20 is Chris Carr. Behind them come Terry Poovey and number 3, Ricky Graham, and a host of others, all at this point racing for 3rd. It looked like they were starting to make some moves on the leaders. I'm not sure that those moves are really eating away at that interval very much. Big move by Poovey, another big move by Graham. Then you see Graham skating around a little bit going into the corner, and that cost him speed.
Exactly. It didn't cost him speed now, it'll cost you speed later in the race. You have to conserve your tires here.
Look at this shot. You really get a sense of the tremendous speed that they run here, and they run that speed just inches apart. It's an old cliche in racing, but it really does take a lot of faith in your fellow man to run like these guys do here.
Exactly. You are depending on the guy inside of you not to make any sudden moves. Your life is in their hands, literally.
Now we see that second pack again showing signs of catching up. Parker has taken the lead. Atherton second. Durrell is third. Durrell really wants to win his first national race. Fans just loving this action. I think the key is that second pack. Ronnie Jones now leads that group. So too Chris Carr, Ricky Graham, all the rest, and they're close.
Ronnie Jones certainly has title aspirations, and I think if anybody's going to bring the second pack to the first, it'll be him. He's moving forward. I think he's going to do his best right now to catch that lead group.
You make a good point about Jones. Remember, he alluded at the top of the show to the fact that he really has nothing to lose. He's solidly in third. Nice move by Atherton to the lead. I don't think that Ronnie Jones believes deep in his heart that he can catch Chris Carr or Scott Parker for the championship at this point. I think he thinks the gap is too big, but I guarantee you he wants to win races and he wants to put all the pressure he can. He's willing to roll the dice, and just as you said, Bill, he is indeed pulling that pack closer. Now, what's the key there? Does he need to go all the way to the front, or does he want to ride along in their draft for a while?
I think he wants to race with them for a while, find out what lines they're using, find out what strategy they're using. He has to mix it up with them in order to get a feel for the group.
Here's a good feel for Scott Parker's potential as he runs deep into turn 3. That is probably his favorite spot in all of motorcycle racing, the entrance to turn 3 at Springfield. Man, you can run in there very, very deep, and that's the Parker trademark. Here is Jones. He's brought the pack up the race for fourth. Coovey is on his heels. Then comes Chris Carr, the other championship rival, and Ricky Graham, who is a 7-time winner on this racetrack. A couple of points are worth making. One, if Parker wins today, he ties Graham's record of 7 Springfield victories. And the other involves Ronnie Jones, number 16. We did Ronnie a disservice earlier this year when we said that he had been plagued by a crashed transporter and blown up motorcycles. Actually, it was the opposite. They haven't blown up a motorcycle all year. They did have a couple unfortunate crashes earlier in the year. Watch Parker. He's waving to the guys chasing him in the back behind. Takes his hand off the handlebar. What's he indicating there?
Occasionally you salute your fellow competitors, and I think he was just joyfully doing exactly that.
Is he just trying to let him know that he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants? Is that a sight game?
I think he's just playing. He's a playful guy out there.
Hard to imagine playing games at 130 miles an hour. Ronnie Jones went all the way to the lead there while we were discussing Parker's antics. Scotty takes him back going into turn 3 and pulls Atherton along for the ride. So now it is Jones third, and looky here, all the way up to fourth, Ricky Graham. Chris Carr is now fifth, and Durrell, who had been the early leader, falls back to the 6th spot. It is a 7-rider pack as Jerry Coovey tacks on to the tail end of it. And now it would seem it must get terribly complicated because you're racing somebody different every lap. What's the strategy here in mid-race?
Well, if panic sets in, it's starting to set in just about now because every time around there's a different guy next to you, and you have no idea exactly how many guys are in this lead pack. So you're really thinking, what am I going to do on the last lap?
Do you look back at all?
Some guys do, some guys don't. It depends on how you're focused on the race. If you're more concerned with the people next to you, or if you're more concerned with the track.
The guy going to the front is Ronnie Jones. He's never won a mile race. He'd love to do that here today in the American Motorcycle Institute rider of the race. We'll be back to see if he can do it right after this. Troy, number 1, Scott Parker leads the Campbell Pro main event, but look here, blasting by on the inside, number 3, Rocket Ricky Graham, the spring winner of this race, and the two men who between them have accumulated 13 victories on this racetrack now run 1-2. Ronnie Jones is third. Chris Carr is fourth. Inside move by Parker. Boy, Graham looked like he was backing up there. That is the effect of the draft. When you're out there by yourself and you're having to push the wind, that slows you down. Everybody else slipstreams right by on the inside.
You're the sail when you're the leader, and in this track especially, I think the catbird seats the number 2 position.
A couple of things have happened here. First, the laps are winding down. As Chris Carr takes the lead for the first time today, time is running out. We're about to get down to the shootout. And the other thing that's happened here, I hope we get a chance to see it, Mike Hale by himself has run down this pack. This is an 8-man battle now, and Mike Hale, number 32, running all by himself with no help from the draft, has caught these guys from behind. That's pretty significant. It is Jones the leader, Carr second, Parker third. Carr and Parker the title rivals. Will we see Hale? Yeah, there he is, right there on the tail end of the pack with 5 laps to go. That's really the symbol to stop playing around and get down to it, isn't it?
That's the moment when everybody says it's crunch time. If you got a trick to pull out, now's the time to do it.
We've seen Parker at this juncture more than once say, okay, now I'm going to split. Now I'm going to break the draft and go. Is that what he's trying to do here? Well, apparently not. It's lost the lead.
At the 5-lap sign, everybody does intensify their effort. He tries to just dig down deep inside and get a little bit more out of himself.
Parker is the only guy in the last 2 or 3 years who has been able to do that, to break away from a pack like this and go off and win them running away. Everybody else who's won a mile in the last 3 years has won a squeaker, and usually over Parker. So now, with 3.5 miles to go, Jones is the leader, Parker is second, Carr is third, and Graham is fourth. A tremendous amount of experience in that lead quartet. Do you want to lead, or do you want to be second going into the final lap? Parker obviously wants to lead at this juncture.
I think he's testing his tires again. He wants to know if he can get away from people or if he has to set himself up to be in second place. He's feeling the wind around him. He's testing his competitors. He's a smart guy on the last lap. He's testing himself.
Hale is barely hanging on to that pack, and we hear from trackside that the shock absorber has broken on the left side of the motorcycle. So he is literally hanging on, just trying to keep that thing on 2 wheels. Parker opens up the biggest lead of the race as Durrell tries to wedge himself up into the thick of this. Remember, number 58, Dave Durrell, was the leader early on, but now he's stuck in the pack as Parker tries to break away. Now it's desperation time for Jones, Carr, Atherton, and the rest. They can't let Parker maintain that gap. They got to run it down. Here comes Jones to the inside, uses the draft, passes him back.
Excellent move by Ronnie. He responded to Scott's thrust, and he's right up front again. He's responding. He did what he had to do. He's digging down inside. He wants to be the champion this year.
He wants to be the champion, and he definitely wants to win one of these mile races. He's been frustrated so many times, just like that. At the end of the backstretch, Carr and Parker went by. Atherton is trying to go around the outside. They're all jockeying for position, trying to get into the perfect spot for the last lap. Warner says that perfect spot is second place. If that's the case, well, it's a dead heat at start-finish as they head into that final lap. Carr and Parker were side by side. Parker goes to the lead. Jones perhaps in the catbird seat. Atherton up on the outside, loses traction. He'll back up. Carr goes to third. Durrell to fourth. Will Jones pass him at the end of the backstretch?
I think he will. Ronnie thinks his best chance is to be leading, and I believe he did. He's inside. Ronnie's going to lead off the last corner. Can he hold him off right now? You've got to play this just exactly right.
And the textbook says you use the draft, then dive to the inside. Here they come, all to the line. Parker goes outside. Carr goes inside. They hit the line 4 abreast. Parker won it. I think it's Jones second, Carr third, and Durrell fourth. That's the way it appeared. They will review the videotape to confirm that, but clearly Scott Parker has won his 7th Springfield. Chris Carr there to congratulate